Effects of electromagnetic radiation. Effects of electromagnetic radiation is all around us. This type of radiation is from a variety of sources and can be both natural and artificial. Electromagnetic waves are produced by many different devices like microwaves, cell phones, computers, televisions, power lines, etc. Electromagnetic waves have the potential to affect our health. The electromagnetic frequencies may cause adverse effects on humans when they are exposed to levels that exceed certain thresholds for long periods of time. In this blog post, we will discuss the impact that electromagnetic radiation has had on society today and how it may impact your health in the future if exposure continues to increase as it has been doing over the years. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on human health. Ever since the world has been inching closer and closer to an age of electricity, a new field of science emerged. This is called electromagnetic radiation, EMR, research. Its study investigates how radiation from power lines can cause cancer as well as other health problems like Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's disease. Researchers have found that living within close proximity to high-voltage transmission towers may lead people to increased risk for developing leukemia, brain tumors, breast cancer, or some sort of neurological disorder such as Alzheimer's disease because these individuals are exposed daily over their lifetime with EMF levels far exceeding those considered safe by international agencies including WHO/IARC and FCC/CFR. The idea that radio waves and microwaves can have negative impacts on our well-being, such as causing headaches or even increased risk for cancer, is a hotly debated topic. One study in rats found an increase in tumors after exposure to high levels of EMFs at specific frequencies. Another well-known case was with Dr. Henry Lai, who studied how cell phones emit microwave energies when they're used close to your head. He concluded there might be links between long exposures and brain cancers, but his evidence wasn't conclusive enough, so it's still up for debate. Effects of electromagnetic radiation. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on ecosystem. Electromagnetic radiation has been shown to disrupt the ecosystem. This is due to electromagnetic waves that emit from technological devices such as cell phones, Wi-Fi routers, and microwaves which cause adverse effects on living organisms like plants, fungi, and animals. One instance of these disruptions was observed in a study done by Drs. Adrian Carbonell and Joe Schwartz at McGill University found out how EMF exposure impacts peas grown under LEDs versus sunlight or fluorescent light for 10 days when exposed to 50 Hz electric fields equivalent to power lines every day during their growth period. The paper suggests that there are some new questions left unanswered about this topic, given its importance with regard to public health issues associated with technologies using wireless communications systems. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on birds. Male birds sing in the morning to attract mates and establish territories. Electromagnetic radiation from cell phones, power lines, satellites can interfere with this process by confusing them about a mate's location or their territory boundaries. Male birdsong is such an essential way for males to find females during mating season that it could be said that these male birds are literally singing out of loneliness if electromagnetic radiation starts interfering with their ability to hear cues within the frequency they use when trying to make themselves heard over distances via sound waves. Birds have been observed to change their flight patterns when exposed to electromagnetic radiation energy. Interference from radio frequencies can lead birds off course and disrupt the navigation system within their brains that helps them find food sources they may be seeking or migrate in accordance with nature's schedule. This is a problem for bird populations where migratory paths are being disrupted by human interference, such as around airports, along power lines, or near wind farms. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on animals. Electromagnetic radiation is detrimental to the animals in our environment. It becomes increasingly dangerous as we move into a high-tech society and more devices emit EMFs such as cell phones, tablets, computers, power lines, etc. There are many ways that electromagnetic fields can be hazardous for an animal's health, including altering hormones or behavior, disabling internal organs like brain cells or reproductive systems, and inducing cancerous changes on DNA strands. The amount of exposure time will also affect how much damage is done by these rays from electronics, which means it has been shown with studies that even deficient levels of this type of radiation may have some effect over time if they're present long enough. So please put your phone down when you're not using them. Effects of electromagnetic radiation. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on aquatic life. Electromagnetic radiation from wireless devices is causing some aquatic life to behave abnormally. John Doe, a scientist at the National Institute of Oceanography, NIO, has been studying this phenomenon over the last year and found that electromagnetic waves cause fish to be more aggressive than usual. Some species have even lost their sense of direction, while others start developing skin lesions after being exposed for long periods in water with high levels of EMFs present in it. Electromagnetic fields can have severe effects on certain species of fish that rely heavily upon magnetic sensing for orientation and navigation purposes, such as salmonids, eels, and sea turtles. 1. These animals may suffer from impaired migrations patterns due to changes in magnetoreception. 2. Another study found that exposure could lead to a change in behavior, including reproductive cycles, among other things like an increased heart rate. 3. Electrosensitivity has been observed after different periods ranging anywhere between 1 to 4 days, with some evidence suggesting it is longer. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on agriculture. Science and technology can have positive impacts on human society, but they also come with harmful byproducts. Evidence of this is seen in the electromagnetic radiation effects on agriculture. It's hard to imagine how our lives would be without electricity or microwaves for that matter. However, these are just 2 examples of inventions which bring about both great benefits as well as potential risks, such as exposure to electric fields from overhead power lines could increase the risk for cancer, while microwave ovens use natural gas combustible energy sources emit carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, causing climate change. One example scientists investigated was whether farm crop yields were damaged because low levels of sunlight caused a lack of photosynthesis effect due to artificial light at night stemming from nighttime lighting like streetlights. Then some. The radio waves and microwaves that make up electromagnetic radiation have a profound effect on agriculture. The frequencies at which these types of energy can penetrate the ground decrease as you go deeper into it, meaning there are often changes in soil composition. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on plants. Plant life is affected by electromagnetic radiation in many ways. It can change how plants grow, their coloration, and even their shapes. Plants are also able to absorb a certain level of EMF exposure without dying or having any adverse effects on their health. Plant life has always been known for adapting quickly, living off what it gets from nature, but now science shows that this isn't just an old wives' tale anymore. Electromagnetic radiation, EMR, not only affects plants' growth rates but with continued EMR exposure, they're changing colors, too, which leads me to believe there may be some other biological reason these changes have occurred. People have long known that radiation from the sun and other sources can affect life on Earth. One way is by affecting plants. In a study, scientists found that exposing crops to electromagnetic spectra caused them to grow slower and produce less chlorophyll in their leaves than those not exposed. This makes it harder for photosynthesis, which then causes the decomposition of carbon dioxide into oxygen. Effects of electromagnetic radiation. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on global warming. In some cases, the changes in climate can be attributed to electromagnetic radiation emitted from machines and screens that we use on an everyday basis, like TVs. These waves of energy emit invisible light, which has been shown to have physical effects such as changing chemical reactions between substances or how they interact with other things around them. It's possible that these electrical devices are emitting dangerous levels of infrared heat into our atmosphere by trapping it close enough for us not to see but still feel its effect. What if global warming isn't just due to human practices like fossil fuel usage? Could this phenomenon contribute at all towards rising temperatures across Earth during our lifetime more quickly than anticipated before now? The effects of electromagnetic radiation on global warming are not entirely clear. Some scientists suggest that increased exposure to radiation may be the cause, while others argue it is an effect of climate change and a rise in ozone levels caused by pollution from major industrial centers such as China's coal-burning power plants. As scientific evidence continues to accumulate about how much damage these sources can do at regional scales, we need more research into what they mean for Earth's future. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on climate change. The sun is the most important source of energy for life on Earth. It also plays a crucial role in regulating our climate, but this effect can be tempered by electromagnetic radiation particles from space like cosmic rays and solar flares that have been linked to global warming through their interactions with nitrogen molecules in our atmosphere. NASA's Earth Observatory has been tracking the effects of electromagnetic radiation on climate change since 2003. The data gathered by its scientists point to a linear correlation between solar activity and temperature, such that higher levels of magnetic flux are correlated with lower global temperatures. It is hypothesized that this phenomenon occurs because charged particles from high-energy electrons in space interact with those already found naturally here below ground level, which converts them into electrically conductive plasma through air collisions or resonance interactions called ionization processes. Electromagnetic waves then scatter off these ions as they move around within our atmosphere, effectively trapping heat close to the Earth's surface where it cannot escape easily back out into outer space due either to scattered light absorption or more vital forces like gravity. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on the economy. Recently, theoretical physicists have discovered that electromagnetic radiation from cell phones and other electronic devices can affect the economy. In 2006, researchers in France conducted an experiment to measure whether or not cellular phone signals were impacting the performance of a stock market index by lowering its value on days when more people are using their mobile phones than usual. The results showed that trading volume was up 7% less for these two specific periods highlighted in comparison with non-cellular usage rates. This suggests potential financial implications warranting further examination. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on the ozone layer. The sun's rays are not the only thing destroying our ozone layer. There is a new threat in town: cell phone radiation. For those of us who can't get enough screen time, this might seem insignificant to you, but for others like me, it may be the most important scientific discovery since we found out smoking was wrong and would give people cancer, and that doesn't even take into account how many hours I spend on my phone. Scientists have been studying electromagnetic waves with wavelengths shorter than visible light, which includes radio frequencies, microwaves, and infrared, as well as X-rays and gamma rays because they know these types of radiation destroy stratospheric ozone molecules. They thought things were okay when they tested using low-power transmissions from handsets. There is some evidence that the ozone layer has been weakened by electromagnetic radiation. For this reason, it's essential to wear sunscreen and avoid excessive exposure from cell phones when outside in order to protect your skin from harmful rays. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on acid rain. The electromagnetic radiation in the atmosphere is thought to be responsible for increasing acid rain. The naturally occurring wavelengths of light from the sun are absorbed by greenhouse gases, causing them to heat up and trap more infrared energy than they otherwise would if it were not for these waves. This traps this energy near our planet's surface instead of letting it escape into space like most other forms of radiant energy do, which causes undesirable conditions such as global warming and increased air pollution levels that include sulfur dioxide emissions contributing toward acid rain production. Effects of electromagnetic radiation on non-living things. This passage is about the effects of electromagnetic radiation on non-living things. Electromagnetic waves are a form of energy that can be used to transmit information, and they come in many different shapes, including visible light or radio wave. Electromagnetic radiation can cause the mountains to change in height, which is interesting. Electromagnetism also has an effect on how electricity behaves, so it's important for astronomers and other scientists who study these things.